Hello, and welcome the both of you and everybody else who might eventually be filtering in. How are you guys?
Good. How are you? Thank you for having us.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much for coming. I'm good. I'm excited because last time I thought was a lot of fun, which for anyone who wasn't there or doesn't remember, Julie had Tegan and I over on her channel, and she had curated a list of fun and unusual prompts because usually when you get like deck prompts, I feel like it's a deck that feels summary. And this was like, so what deck would you use to read for, Jesus Christ or that kind of stuff?
That was a good one, actually.
So yeah, that was a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
very excited to be dabbling in round two of this. Oh, hello. Hi, Robin.
Hi, Robin. Happy birthday.
Oh yeah, happy birthday.
happy birthday.
Woo. Thank you for joining us on your birthday.
And of course, feel
Prepared for
free.
silliness.
Do what? Sorry.
Be prepared for silliness.
Oh,
Be
yes.
prepared for silliness. And if you want to, by all means, grab your own decks and play along. We'll see if I'm curious to see if these two wind up like choosing themselves into a corner, you two, with what choices you make. It didn't happen last time, I feel like, but it might happen this time.
Uh-huh. Perhaps. Perhaps.
That's right. Now that you get to be the ringleader, now you're like, "Mwah."
Well, that's why you don't let me do things, but it's too late now.
Oh,
Okay, so the themes for today are, or the prompts for today do have a theme. I did express that theme to Tegan to see if she would be interested in joining the live. Julie, however, is blissfully ignorant of the theme. And so I think to get into the theme and to unveil it, we should just start with the first prompt if the two of you are ready.
okay, sure.
I don't know the prompts. I don't know the prompts, Julie.
She doesn't know the prompts.
Is this the same idea where we cannot reuse decks from the previous prompt?
I mean, I think that would up the ante a little bit.
Okay. Okay. Just making sure.
And like last time, I will be going through and putting you two on a 30-second timer to make your selections. Also, hi, Ingrid. Hi, Laura.
Ooh. Oh no.
You're lagging a bit, Julie.
Am I lagging a bit?
Mm-hmm.
Crap. Hold on. Can you?
And she was doing so well until
I know. I was okay. How's it now?
It seems stable now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because you two were breaking up a little bit, and I wasn't sure if it was me or if it was. All right. I am plugged in, like as in like old school cord plugged into a jack situation. So I don't know why. Okay. Hopefully that should be all right. Okay. So.
Okay. So prompt number one. Bella, where the hell have you been, Loca? A deck? A deck that you have neglected of late.
Deck that I've neglected of late. Oh, are you starting the timer?
Yes.
She's
and
gone
that you want to
already.
return to.
Like, screw you.
So for everybody at home, as if we're not, it's Twilight themed prompts, and I feel like the three of us have a healthy love of Twilight, and that includes a love for it and a love sometimes laughing at it. And so here we are.
You gotta laugh at it. You just have to. I mean.
All right, so we have 5 seconds left. Good work, Julie. Oh, just in the nick of time.
Ooh.
Am I going to get deducted otherwise?
Yes.
Apparently, there's a winner to this, Julie. Game on.
Oh, is there a prize?
Pride.
Okay.
Pride of place.
Okay.
Prestige.
Got it.
So who would like to go first?
I'm easy.
Okay.
We'll take turns, all right?
Yeah.
So Tegan, what is your deck that you have neglected but kind of need to return to at some point?
I don't know if this is the right way round for everyone else, and
It
sorry
is.
about the glare. But this is the Mystical Cats Tarot, one of which people probably haven't heard me talk about in the longest time. And the reason being is because I have so many decks now, so many. And actually, Tarot of Pagan Cats ended up out of my main cat tarots being more of the go-to one. I just feel like it seems to be a little bit more readable for other people, and it was my sort of card tarot deck for a really long time. Also, the cardstock could actually take being thrown in the car, whereas this one, it's that beautiful old school really thin Llewellyn, which I love because it actually holds up really well, but if I threw it in the car it would literally disintegrate. But it's like, it reminds me of being little, actually. It's sort of not quite cheesy cats, but not quite like, this doesn't actually look like a cat that I'm going to bump into outside. You can tell it's been illustrated.
Right.
But I feel like it's really cute and has the whole cat behavioural thing down. It's really elemental and I absolutely adore it. And I learned the Rider-Waite-Smith with it. It was one of the decks I got when I realised, yeah, the Wild Unknown's not going to help me learn Rider-Waite-Smith. So this was the deck that I did that with. But I had spent so much time with it that it sort of got put into like retirement way too early. And it has definitely been neglected.
Oh,
It's a good one.
really
It's a
good
good
pick.
one. I actually had that one, but then rehomed it because I was in my I don't do animal decks like phase. Because I also just I was neglecting it. So I was like, oh, I should pass it on to somebody who will actually use it. So
I love how you gaslit yourself about not doing animal decks for the longest time.
I totally did. Totally did. Learned my lesson. So I chose the Tarot de Carletides. I think is what it's called. This was actually a gift. And it was a deck that she was rehoming and was offering it to me if I was interested. And I like love, okay, tuck boxes, love-hate relationship. I think this is really pretty, actually. This is like a Fournier deck. And so I also love the size of it. But to be quite honest, like I feel like, and I love the backs. And it's just like a really nice like size for my hands. I really enjoy it, but I think aside from maybe the time when I first got it and used it some, and maybe one other time, like I have not really used this a lot at all. So this one's gone. And then I'll see it on channels, and I'll be like, oh, I should break that out again, because I would say that this is one deck that I don't feel quite familiar with, and it is because I have also amassed, a more sizable deck library in recent times. So yeah, this one I kind of keep pushing aside. But I think like the imagery is really cool. It has a quirky feel. I feel like a lot of kind of pop culture and like art references. Like for instance, this one is an art reference to that one artist who does like the unicorn tapestries, and I forget his name. I don't remember his name. So yeah, I would like to work with this more. I think there might have even been a point where I was like, oh, I'm just not picking this up. Should I rehome it? But I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying not to be so like compulsive about rehoming things too quickly. So yeah, I think it's really fun.
I love the color palette in that one, like tone wise.
Yeah. So it's just, yeah, I like the quirkiness of it, and it shuffles great. I wish more decks would come out in this size, although I know it might be a problem like image wise to see everything because it is smaller, but this doesn't, the images I can see fine with this particular deck on this size. It shuffles really well. It's just got neglected, that's all.
And it's got that super sexy inner printing on the tuck box
Yes. I know, it's the little things like that. And then you've got the eye on this one flap here.
Oh,
It's
that's
just like
cute.
the little things like that. Like this is a tuck box that is worth keeping, you know? So
Totally respect that. All right,
yeah.
good choices for the first round, even though Tegan is lagging behind because of her penalties.
Oh.
When you said what the prize was, I already went, nah.
So true. So true.
Oh, wow.
I'm not pride.
Yeah. I don't have any of that. What is that? I don't know what that is.
Oh, yeah, that's relatable. Okay.
I've gone for Anakin instead.
Okay, are you ready for round 2?
Yes.
Okay, so the second prompt. This is the skin of a killer, Bella. A deck with look, Twilight has some genuinely beautiful quotes in the books, but unfortunately the movies don't have that many of the beautiful quotes. So we're going with the memorable quotes.
That is in the movie, isn't that?
Yeah.
No, it is. I was just
Okay.
thinking of like
So
the
other
longer, like
the longer ones.
substantial, beautiful quotes that she has in the books that just got cut for some
Yeah.
reason.
Oh yeah. No time for that in the movies. Come on. Not campy
Okay,
enough.
so this is the skin of a killer, Bella. A deck with bling of some sort or flashy art.
Oh no. Jesus.
I know.
Oh, my brain's
Whoa!
gone now.
Record time, 6 seconds.
Yeah, I feel like these are going to be kind of on the nose too. Like, you know, I feel like I've shown these decks before, but whatever.
I'm not getting another penalty. I've gone really terrible, but that'll do.
All right, well done. Okay.
Okay, my turn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So bling, I mean, the first thing that came to mind was the Ethereal Visions Tarot.
Work.
Yeah. Just for the sheer like silver, it was a silver foil factor. I think this is one of the only decks, if not the only deck with like this type of foiling. And I love it. Love it. So I can't remember. Does the other one, the other version, does that have foil, like a gold foil?
Mm-hmm.
It does. Okay.
Mm.
Well, I really prefer the color scheme of this Luna edition over that one. And I think some people think that the silver is a bit over the top, but that's actually what I also love about it. So I just think it's really beautiful. This one doesn't have the problem where the foiling actually stamps to the other side, so that's not an issue. Yeah, so I just think it's a really pretty deck. I trimmed a little bit off on the tops. I think actually maybe on each side to see if that would help with my shuffling, because it is on like the large side. I think even a smidge larger than a standard tarot. So shuffling has been a challenge with this deck, but otherwise, you know, it's a great reader. So, and it's just really beautiful.
Do you use it much?
Honestly, this one, I don't, because I would like to use it more. It's another one that's kind of gone a little bit neglected because, and I think, you know, part of that is that the shuffleability is difficult for me. So that means like either I'm going to be in the mood that I'm going to do sloppy overhand and use my dice, or I'm just not. And lately, more times than not, I have been really lazy and just want like a deck that I know I can shuffle really fast. Because like, and this is one I feel like if I use this to read for friends, they would love this imagery. But actually I don't know that I brought this out to really read for a lot of friends because it's just hard to shuffle. And when reading for somebody else, I just really needed to be seamless and efficient and not me just fumbling around. So that's the only thing about that deck. It's beautiful but my working with it is not so beautiful. It's just really kind of sloppy, actually. So, but I love it.
A wonderful choice.
I've just been chuckling at people mocking me in the comments.
Which,
She loves Blingy. And then Ingrid, that'll do. Tegan's really into this question. I'm really annoyed now though, because I have your deck, Logan, there, which is Blingy, and I
that's right. I do have more than, yes.
My brain completely malfunctioned because, as
So
people have rightly so outed me, it's like the likelihood of bling in this area is low.
very scary.
But the one I chose, I feel like is slightly funnier because, especially because Laura has said she's not seen the Twilight movie at least. And when he says this is the skin of a killer and he's sparkling like a little diamante, I felt like this one was funny because there's something about it that's edgy, and then there's something about it that's just cute. And you remember that, you know, children started these games, which is the Citadel Oracle.
That too.
Which has the bronze bling and is like wonderfully sort of tabletop game, D&D inspired, all of the things. And some of the cards are, I feel, quite edgy. I really enjoy it as a reader. It's ended up being like a quick favourite for a deck that I haven't actually got around to using enough yet. But also there's just that element about it that it made me chuckle because I felt like it would be quite fitting for that that whole Twilight moment.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like they missed a trick not adding vampires in here. And
I know that would have been amazing,
especially with all the red, like the black, the red, and then the bronze. Like, where's my vampire, please, and thank you.
Because that would be the type of like setting. It's like the perfect setting for vampire. Yeah,
exactly. And then you could really go where you wanted with it, because I think vampires are so different, as we know, dependent on what they're in. And I feel like these kind of tabletop games really take the range. So yeah, this was my blingy one, and I was very excited. And also because other than Logan's, I don't really have blingy decks. I've heard terrible things about the like the foiling not being printed very well and the various issues that comes with that. And this one's actually printed really well for the most part. So for a mass market deck, I was kind of like, whew, when it came and there wasn't like loads of gashes or I was like, yay. So that's my bling.
That's a good one.
I wasn't sure if you, Tegan, would have a deck to fit that prompt, so I'm glad that you wound up having
that. You were trying to fit me up, right?
I forgot I had that one, so I lied. I have more bling than I thought with Logan's deck, and then that one. I'm okay.
Yeah, see, but Logan, surely you would have remembered that, being as I have both your Black Salt Tarot and Oracle, and they're actually the blingiest thing I own. So
I'm not saying that I am mindful of very much at any given time.
This is true. I'm like, oh, she might not have bling. We'll see. We'll see how much she sweats.
You just wait until there's a nice breeze and you can hear the whistle going. Oh yeah, and by the way, people in the comments, I don't have the ability from this laptop for some reason to share the comments to the screen, so that's the only reason that's not happening right now. But I want to throw that out there. Okay. Are y'all ready for a third round? Yeah,
let's do it.
Okay. Hold on tight, Spider Monkey. A deck that has carried you through hard times.
Why is she so much quicker than me?
She's in her element. She's trained her whole life for Twilight Prom.
It's genuinely slowing me down. Like, I'm just the velocity of the crap. Come on, Brian. Okay.
Such good quotes. Such good quotes. Just the literary just genius that is Stephanie Meyer.
Okay. Tegan, what did you pick?
I don't feel like there were probably other options, but as you saw, it's like Juli shoots off the screen like a freaking hare. And I'm like, So we went for and I will be very specific because this was the first Wild Unknown I had. It's the second edition indie. And it's not I suppose it's quite fitting for me, really, because you said held you through like difficult times, essentially, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the way that I read this, and obviously it's not. It's got a couple of rainbows and nice bits in it, but I feel like it's quite sharp around the edges, which is probably quite fitting, to be fair. What deck do I want to really see myself in? I'll come for a slap in the face. But this one has probably inspired more writing and poetry than any other deck I own, weirdly. And I think it's probably because when I returned to the tarot scene and I saw this, which was funny because I didn't know that it was having a popular moment. I saw it somewhere randomly and I wasn't in tarot land on socials then. So I sort of got it just based on seeing it one place. And that's how I found a video from Kelly and the Truth in Story had done it. And I watched the video and I was like, this deck has animals in it. Yay! Because it was just so surreal to me. And as people know, I had an interesting time sort of coming and trying to learn a system with this one. But it is a deck that I am massively bonded to, and it's definitely not just because it was one of those ones where I worked with solo, which obviously is different, which is why I try and get through my deck collection in the way that I do so that I bond with them. But if someone said, get rid of loads and what would you have left and what do you get on with? And this is sort of how I see tarot. So when people imagine, say, the Thoth or the Rider-Waite-Smith, I sort of have this twofold adjacent thing where this is the first thing I imagine, and then I can insert the Rider-Waite-Smith as well. So, yes, lots of tarot poetry, lots of throwing emotions around with it, and lots of feeling. It feels very clear and straightforward to me, which I appreciate isn't everyone's experience of it. It sort of made me work for it and then went really loose after, and now it just makes sense to me.
By the way, Ingrid said, I can't wait for Tegan's turn to host. She'll get back at both of you.
Oh, yeah. You're in trouble and in big trouble. And the only reason it won't happen sooner now is because I have to move in 5 weeks. So I was thinking, darn, like if we do it again sooner, we would have to do one of you on one of your channels again, you know, in case there's like boxes everywhere. I just have to have a little hoard of tarot. But yes, you're right, Ingrid. You are right.
Don't give her ideas.
I know. Don't stoke the flames. I know. Now, like with the move, she's going to have even more time to like think of her revenge. So.
That's true. Thank you. That's true. See, I am the wild unknown. It's like there's a lot of cuteness in there if you're willing to look for it, but otherwise,
brutal.
This one's harsh and odd.
Yeah. All right. So the one that I chose, this one I used a lot this year. So this is why it came to the forefront of my mind. And it's the Wisdom of the Wild Things Oracle. And I have talked about this a lot. So I won't bore people, but basically it's an Oracle deck that I got this year. And I have described it. Well, first of all, I love like just the imagery. I think, again, I love like the whole quirk factor. Here you've got like this, like, I don't know, like vampire elf hybrid creature thing. So it's just very eccentric, but I love that. And I also love a majority of these like key phrases. And I have described this before as like a deck that kind of is like a nagging parent because I kept getting repeater cards. But the messages were very important in my time of like healing and dealing with grief this year. So while I would, more than occasionally roll my eyes at the repeater cards I kept getting, it it was also very healing, and just really really good to work with and to have those reminders. So it's one of those decks where I can be pretty picky about key phrases. And not all of these are perfect, but there are enough that are just they're really thoughtful and poignant, and they really work for me personally. So I would say, yeah, like for instance, this one, protect your boundaries.
Oh, look at them with a little axe, and they look so
I
innocent. And
I
it's
know.
like boundaries, and it's like,
That's so adorable, right? And some are creepy, like, and then this one, retract.
this is on my wish list actually.
Like, what is this creature? I have no clue. And it's just this one is one of my repeater cards, Alchemize Pain.
Oh
And
wow!
so this was a nice reminder to take the pain I was feeling and to actually like alchemize it into being creative and doing things that were actually fun.
Mm.
I got that card quite a bit. So that was my choice.
I like that one. It gives me kind of like if Jasmine Beckett Griffith and like Chicoli had like a cousin or some other family member. It gives me that.
Yeah, I might add a dash, like a seasoning of Brian Froud around.
Yeah,
I could see that.
that's true. And I don't have any of his decks, and I've been curious about his decks, but I haven't pulled the trigger on any of them. But
Same.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we are on prompt number 4. Now this one might take an explanation. We'll see how it goes. Original Renesmee. A deck that's hard on the eyes, but you love it anyway. Do you remember Renesmee in the movie?
Oh, boy, do I remember Renesmee.
Because once you've seen it, you can't cut it out of your memory.
Oh my God.
anymore.
And so many memes on her jacked up, like AI generated face. Like it is really scary. I don't
It's
know.
horrific and terrible.
It's
I'm pretty sure I read somewhere online after my partner and some of our friends, we rewatched the series in like the course of a week, and just it was glorious. But I believe I read that like the original doll, whatever it is that they were using for Renesmee, was so unsettling on set that it was distracting the actors from delivering their lines.
Imagine like some collector out there probably owns that creepy fucking hour as well. Just sitting there.
yeah. I feel like I might have even seen that doll. Did they ever release like behind the scenes clips of the actual doll? Because maybe
I'll send you a picture, or if you want to Google original Renesmee, it comes up side by side with the CGI baby, which is much better, but still just uncanny.
It is uncanny.
It
Yeah.
still should never have happened. Let's put it that way. In that day and age, it should never have happened. It really throws me. We get there, I'm already eating out on the movies by that point, and then that happens, and I'm like, wow, that's some horror, but out of context.
Yes.
Oh, so
Absolutely.
I guess we could say a deck that's hard on the eyes, but you love it anyway, or a deck with really unnerving imagery. And I'm going to start the timer now.
Don't start it, Logan. Don't do it.
And time.
I don't remember who's first.
Is it me?
I think so. Juli this time.
Okay, so I was trying to think of any type of deck that was like hard on the, I don't know. I just love all my decks, so they're not necessarily hard on the eyes for me, or like, so I guess I chose one that I feel that I've heard other people say is unnerving. And that is the Hush Tarot. because it definitely the themes of this deck, especially, and just in terms of it just has a whole vibe to it, a whole kind of like sometimes like a soggy, rotting decay type of vibe amidst like a lot of beauty.
Soggy is always the description.
This is
As soon as you
soggy.
said soggy, Logan went,
Doesn't this look soggy to you? I think this is hilarious. But I think people find this
it looks moist.
Moist.
Yeah.
There we go.
Just, but like it's so I can see why some other people might find some of the images in this deck unnerving. And I have.
It's funny, I didn't realize that people had said that about the Hush Tarot.
Yeah.
I know I nodded, but that's because I own it. So
yeah, and that's my thing too. Like I personally don't have those feelings. I mean, I think there it's beautiful and can be unnerving at the same time, but so for me, I feel like where some people might find it like unnerving, I weirdly don't like I don't find it unnerving. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's great. I did have to work to kind of like bond with this deck, and so I did resequence it to make the deck work for me. But other than that, yeah, it's definitely its own flavor.
It's soggy and you love it.
Exactly. So yeah, I just think it's there are a lot of beautiful images like this. But the ones where you just see like basically what I deem to be like just people like rotting or perhaps dying or dead, or those might be a little bit discomforting, or even just an image like this, and she is not dead, but just the way she's rendered is perhaps to some a bit unnerving.
I see that.
But I have really enjoyed using this deck, actually. And it is very much like an end of summer, fall kind of mood deck for me. And it's not one that I use all the time because it is definitely a mood. So it's not like, for me, this doesn't come out as like a daily draw kind of deck. But yeah, I really do enjoy it. And I've bonded with it since kind of making it my own, making it work for me.
I think that makes a lot of sense too. I'm glad that you were able to bond with it, because I feel like I have heard people having some trouble with that one just because it seems like the imagery doesn't always immediately like bring the card meaning to mind that it's attached to.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and yet other people have said that they work with it as is and it's fine for them, and it's more about what they take away from it intuitively, and giving themselves permission to step away from Rider-Waite-Smith, and I think somebody was actually saying that what's this guy's name? Jeremy Hush, on his Instagram, he was bringing up certain images from this deck and explaining the reasoning of why that particular image was chosen for that card. I haven't looked at that yet, but I do believe all of these are they've already been pre-established images. They weren't for the deck, I don't think. Like he had already.
I think at least like 90% of them
Yeah,
are. And I could be wrong, because there's a couple in there that definitely look like they were made for the deck.
Yes.
I find it doesn't really bother me, but it's mildly jarring in that it notices.
Yeah. So yeah, that was really the only one I could come up with, because I'm
and yet so quick still. I was the only one I could find in 5 seconds. I'm going to start calling you the Flash.
Love
Whereas I picked one and then thought of 2 better options after, and I'm like, oh, damn it. Also, I love, Laura said, funny how unnerving became soggy. And this does make sense to me, she said.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the words themselves and the feelings they conjure might be unnerving as well, at least to Logan.
So mine is going to be another, because I couldn't think of something that's like ugly and I love it. And usually I have stuff like that in other realms, but deck wise, I don't think I look at any and actually think that I'm their sort of ugly part anyway. But what I am about to show is considered unnerving for some people. So whilst I don't usually bother on my own channel, being as it's Logan's, there are blood, there are spiders, there are multiple tiny things that look like lots and lots of eyes and holes. So if anyone's got any of those phobias, then look away for a second. So because I'm getting all the horrific ones out, because I've lost the plot apparently. That's probably enough horrific ones actually, and then we'll just let it come naturally. But this is the cursed augury, so I may have got this out last time anyway. I don't know if this is in print or out of print, by the by, but for me it's just your standard Tegan deck. But for a lot of other people, it's considered disturbing. The devil has no eyes, and yet there are eyes everywhere. The frogs spawn everywhere. The spiders, they are coming for you in this deck in the majors. One of them is coming out of someone's mouth. And I really went for it. Sorry, Logan. If you see loads of unfollows, I will make it up. And there's lots of blood and nails, and it's a witchcraft deck that reflects what some of us would say is the dirt and the natural and decay part of, you know, witchcraft and death work and spirit work and stuff. And as you can see, the pips are very friendly, but the mages and the cults are quite confrontational for some people. Like this. I mean, she really wasn't paying attention to her needlework, because this is not how you get a little bit of blood. This is painful stuff.
It's a very Tegan deck.
Yeah, it is. But look, and then all of a sudden, no, see, it didn't do it for me. Damn it. All of a sudden, spider. So, yeah. It's a very Tegan. My dad would be proud. He would definitely like this. In fact, I don't know why I haven't taken it round and shown it to him. He would definitely like it. And it's funny because as much as I make it sound like it's being edgy for the sake of being edgy, it's really not. It's genuinely a very well put together, well thought out deck. It's just obviously not everyone's craft looks like that, and also, which is fine, and not everyone wants to see artwork like that either, which is also fine. So for me, it never actually registered, and to be honest, I would never have even thought to give a warning for it on my channel ever, which I'm sure I didn't. And then I watched a bunch of other people's reviews, because I just like watching reviews on decks I own and seeing if people like them or they don't, and what their experience was, just because I'm nosy. And lots of people were giving warnings, and I was like, oh, oopsies. Just come to my channel and I will traumatize. But look at the bag that I've got for it as
That's
well.
awesome. That's perfect.
And if anyone hasn't seen it, because apparently we didn't go past them, which is actually quite cute in this deck, the sun, star, and moon are all skulls with different things like in and around them from memory. So, yeah. Cute bag, but it's a little dangerous inside.
Very cute bag. That's the same creator who does like the other nature ones that are like embroidered on the front or whatever.
Crystal Haven is basically a third of my bag collection.
Yeah, she's based in the UK, right?
Yes, which is nice for me selfishly, because usually everyone's in the US or Canada or Australia. So yeah.
Well, her stuff is so pretty.
It is.
Okay. All right, let's see. Okay, we're on prompt 5. Are y'all ready? Okay. Every second I'm with you is about restraint. And you're too fragile. A deck that you're afraid to use because it's so damn flimsy.
Because it's so damn flimsy?
Because it's so damn flimsy.
I'm like, I don't know, I have one.
We can also, of course, skip if y'all both come up. With
I bet Julie's got one though. See, she's gone already.
It might just be a power move. She might just be trying to mess with you. Also, I totally forgot to start the timer.
That's just as well because I'm just spinning around in my chair like wee. Oh, do I have any?
Is it just a power move, Julie? You can tell me if it is.
No, I'm just that good.
Rude.
Well, let you answer the power move question with a power move.
I've got a sideways. I've gone as close as I can.
Yes, thank you, Ingrid. To be fair, Julie didn't rush off at once. I think we both kind of had a brain meltdown there. We're like, oh my goodness, do we have one of those?
Yeah, and I don't, but can pull some of the questioning. You will not defeat me, Logan.
Actually,
it's my go first as well now, isn't it? Is it?
Go back to the, sorry to interrupt, but to go back, it just occurred to me to go back to the last question. I could have chosen, but I think it's a good thing I didn't because I showed it in our last live, but my Blobby Blob deck, that probably could have been a contender. Could it not have?
I was wondering, I was expecting you to pull either Blobby Blob or the gift from Matt.
Oh yeah. I didn't think of that, but I did. That's also a good one. I didn't think of that one. Brain malfunction. See, you should just be pulling decks for me, just whispering in my ear, being like, Julie, this one.
Do I not know about this other deck, or is it the cat one?
It's the cat one, the one that she dragged her husband on YouTube for.
Which I enjoy every time.
The black, the black cat one. I should give that one more love, but yeah, and then the Reclaim Oracle was one we had talked about last time. But anyway.
Yeah, I forgot about it. See, and I wanted to get the arcane bullshit out purely because there's a penis weasel in it, and I feel like collectively there would be pain in that across the board, but unfortunately I forgot. So
the way you rattled off that noun with a straight face, it's the most natural part of your vocabulary.
It's my favorite card in the whole deck. It's so good. It's just holding severed, like
Here I am. Okay, sorry, not to get us off track, but
so it's me first this time.
It is you first.
Yes.
For this tragic attempt at trying to. So this is thin cardstock, but it's not too thin. So I'm not going to be. What's the word? Dragging it in that sense, but I am fearful of using it, which doesn't happen often to me. I do use it, but I'm fearful of my heavy-handed nature, and it's because it's very much out of print. And I don't think that this is an out of print deck that people are going to see often being sold either, because there's out of print mass market decks which seem to come up more frequently, and then there's out of print indie decks that there were small print runs on. So this is the Forest Folklore Tarot, and it's absolutely one of my favorites because all of the flora and the fauna and the animals, it's fauna. I don't know if I'd covered that in I added animals anyway. All of the stuff in this deck is found in and around the British region, and obviously some parts of Europe and stuff as well. And I've been waiting for a tarot deck like that for forever, and managed to get this just before it went out of print. So I'm absolutely besotted with it, and it's on that nice sort of like thin, bendy. It actually reminds me of linen cardstock, but doesn't have a linen finish. So maybe that's because I know linen is technically the finish. So I'm assuming I've got linen decks that are printed on a similar stock as this. And it's, if I ruin one of these cards, that's it. That's all she wrote. And normally I really don't care, because either I'm like, well, it'll have served its purpose, or I don't know, I'll find another one at some point or whatever it is. But like, this is the closest to a deck that I would have created in tarot sort of British landscape wise that I've ever come across. I'm so sad that I couldn't get a second one. I was actually selfless. I had a chance to get a second one, but a friend of mine really wanted a copy, so I told them about it. But it's mildly fearful using it occasionally because I have been known to snap a card or two in half. So that's as close as we get for the delicate, fragile creature.
I think that works. That totally
Yeah.
works. And yeah, I haven't seen much of that creator's work like popping up in sale groups either, because she did a limited print run of like a pastel version of her Velita Oracle.
Okay.
And I missed the Kickstarter, and I was like, maybe I'll find it around one day on Facebook. And it's been like a year or two now. I've seen hide nor hair of it. So yeah,
No.
I don't think people turn her stuff loose.
Oh, yeah.
No, which is quite nice in a sense. It would have been nicer if she felt that she could continue printing them and had that sort of support. But certainly, I've found similar. It's like people who have her decks, we clutch onto them. They're out.
Great.
Juli.
Okay, so the one that I thought of, I think it fits the bill. And this kind of similar to Tegan, because I wouldn't be able to get this again, I feel a little bit precious about it, but it is a majors only, and it's a Korean deck. It was a gift that someone sent me from South Korea. And but the cardstock is quite thin and flimsy. Luckily, there aren't like so many. It's just the majors, so there aren't so many cards where I have more that risk of damaging. But still, because it would be very difficult to virtually impossible for me to get this again, I do feel somewhat.
That's so pretty.
Yeah, it is really pretty. So, and I don't even remember what the actual name of this deck is. Because a lot of times, like, the names are just so generic and they don't necessarily translate well into English anyway. And so I just keep this in a bag. It came in like a very unruly kind of large tuck box situation. So yeah, I think I feel like I have riffle shuffled this before, and it's okay. It's actually like nice on my hands in that it's not super, because it is so flimsy, it's doesn't hurt my hands at all. And it is like this smaller size again that I love so much. But yeah, I would be upset should I inadvertently like bend it, which I feel like is more probable with, a cardstock like this. So
I wonder if it would. It really reminds me of my medicine cards, and you know what? Because they're so bendy, they've never creased. They do have a few mild dents, but whenever I've had an actual accident with them, because they're so thin, I just slam it into a heavy book with a couple more on, and they've lasted. Like, they're like eternal, weirdly. I'm not suggesting try it, but
right. Yeah.
I feel like that deck's a good example of when borders really help. Like, I loved how the borders were bringing everything together, and it sort of had this like very ornate, go into a museum and see it hung in a frame.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the borders, I'm not mad at the borders at all. In general, I like this deck, and it's it was a very thoughtful gift, and I should, it's another deck that has gone neglected. I should break that out more often.
You definitely get more points for being thoughtful than me, though.
Okay. So we are on a prompt. Number 6. Are y'all ready? Okay. You nicknamed my daughter after the Loch Ness Monster? A deck with a funny, unusual, or unfortunate name.
Yeah, well, we know what I'm going to do now.
Oh, do we? I'm dumped.
It's the quicker stuff. Move. I've chosen violence.
When don't you?
If it helps, I'm suffering all the more for it, because for some reason I'm like burning up as well.
It's the hot-bloodedness of competition.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so I think Julie is first this time.
Okay, so this one was kind of hard. And that's partly why I rush over there, so I have time to like stare and see what I have. Because it's kind of
We don't get to see that bit. Just
so I would say that this is what I chose. And it's another actually majors only deck, and it is literally called Tarot. I mean, yeah. So another very thoughtful gift, and I really actually love this deck. And it's by who is this by? Nayoshi is the name, and yeah, it's just they're huge. First of all, huge.
Whoa.
wow.
Yeah, but they have. This is just so my cup of tea. This kind of like doll
She looks
aesthetic.
like a Blythe. I
Yeah,
love her.
exactly. So, but it's majors only. I adore this. And I've been using it actually for my monthly like card of the month. This is what I've been using to do my card of the month draws. And I wish that it was a full deck, but I do not think I don't know, 78 cards of this size, that might be difficult. But
Yeah, I'm just picturing like wrist injuries and
definitely just casualties from the attempts of overhand shuffling for sure. But yeah, I really love the aesthetic of this deck.
So
And
cute.
yeah, it just really it just brightens my mood. Like look at this.
Yeah,
Rainbow
that's
cube.
very fun.
Look at that.
So, but yeah, the title doesn't really give you any indication of its vibe or its theme or just
anything.
or anything. It's just called tarot.
Excellent choice. And yeah, as Laura pointed out, that is a hard call. So well done. And also, I'm sorry.
No, not at all. We love to be challenged, don't we, Tegan?
We do.
We do.
Welcome to my revenge.
God.
Well, I didn't get to show the arcane bullshit, and I thought that was quite a weird name. So, welcome to my potty humor deck, which I know a few people have, but I don't know many. In fairness,
I don't know.
If people don't know the story of how I wound up with this deck, my dad found it on Kickstarter and said, "Let's kickstart it together," because that's the family I'm from. And so not only is, I mean, obviously it's tongue in cheek, so it's not as funny as just tarot. It's like Cher or Madonna, tarot. But this is more like obviously meant to be this way the whole way through. So it's probably nothing, and this is just nonsensical the whole way. Werewolf and pig making out.
That could be in a Twilight film. That could be in a Twilight film.
Yeah. It could. See, thematic. I'm not sure I should share this. I don't know how PG your channel is, Logan. I have to.
I mean, I swear a lot in the videos, and there's nudity in the decks sometimes.
Okay, here's the dildo with it. His dildos around here.
All right.
I love this deck, but this card is definitely about sex. And let me just find. Oh, this is great. This one is my repeater card. Hang in there, it says, whilst you're dipped in fire. Let me find the penis weasel. Oh, and my other favorite card. So I have two favorites. This is a bunch of cats posing as a woman.
Oh, that's so funny. That's amazing.
And so the really interesting thing about this card is it's absolutely obscure and clearly a fun poke. If anyone follows Evan, they go by Evan. I can't remember. Is it Doherty or something? Doherty. Anyway, they go by Arcane Bullshit on on Instagram, and they do a lot of like meme stuff. And I think they basically were sort of encouraging the occult community to not take themselves so seriously all the time. But I have read with this in actual serious readings and got some really beneficial messages from it. Alongside, I like to use it with the Brady Tarot. So I found that like really interesting because I can read with it like a silly wombat, and I can also read with it very sensibly. But it is having a run around with me because there's like 100 and something cards, and the penis weasel is 100% evading me.
That's gonna be the last card. That's amazing.
Savage.
That's even better. I was somehow imagining that it was like a chimera of sorts, part
Right.
penis, part weasel, but that's even better.
No, this thing is basically someone wronged me, and this is what I did in return.
Good for her.
Yeah. Go get
She
it.
said,
Yeah.
piss me off, I take your penis. And that's what she did.
I feel like there's a running theme with Tegan here. Just like, oh, burying people in graves. Nothing else means.
I've got to stop joking about stuff like that. Someone will try and like AI me doing something awful, and
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
would not be
is-
good.
Is that deck still in print?
Yes.
It is. Okay.
There's definitely, at least I've seen it for sale in various places still. So yeah, and it's a chunker, but it was the most fun Kickstarter I have ever been a part of, purely because this guy can just, I don't know if he's like perpetually on weed or something, but he just, the whole campaign was just nonsensical, but not in a way where you were worried about like, oh, you're not going to get your stuff. It was hilarious. He's very funny.
Sweet. Very nice.
Okay, sorry. I'm still digesting penis weasel.
You're not getting them, are you?
It's
Spiritually resonant. Okay, so prompt number 7. The fetus isn't good for Bella. A deck with an ugly baby on at least one card, or the deck with the ugliest baby you've ever seen.
Oh no! I think I got rid of all mine. Come on.
I should have known you would have. I've seen how you played Animal Crossing. You
I
toss
know,
out the
yeah.
ugly villagers.
Can I have a 10-second reminder?
You have 5 seconds to go.
Oh gosh, right. We're going to hope that this one's going to hold out for me, and I'm going to get myself in trouble again.
Oh. Okay, so it's Tegan's turn this time, right?
It is. And I saw your comment earlier, Ingrid, and yes, the perimenopausal sweats are very real.
They are.
Too.
They are.
Woo. So, if this doesn't have that in it, then it's fine, and I will eat my deduction of points. But also, I don't drag this deck regularly just for fun, but I couldn't think of anything else, so I've picked up the Rider-Waite Smith again. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm literally going to shit talk me next time I use it now. I'm genuinely fearful that I have like somehow going to have offended this deck. So I feel like, I mean, do you know where the baby is in yours, Julie, then? Because, oh, I found them.
you found yours?
I mean, is this the one we're thinking of? Is it a baby? Is it a doll? Nobody knows.
It's egregious, whatever it is.
It's original Renesmee.
It's really is. Ah, ah.
Oh,
Look at it go. It's even in dull position
Yeah.
as well. It's like it's not articulated. It's old school.
It's just so yeah.
you know what? I do have to say, seeing them both held up like that side by side, I think Tegan's is a little bit less horrifying because Julie, yours doesn't have a border, so it's just immediately upon you.
Yeah.
Whereas the other one at least has a frame to kind of.
Yeah, it's like it distracts. It's like, oh, this is artwork. Don't pay attention to the child. Whereas Julie's is like, bam.
And here I am in all my
Ta-da!
ooh, Rosemary Baby Glory. Yes.
It's a theatre goer.
Yeah.
In jazz hands. I absolutely love and feel seen that Juli has selected the deck. And I feel like this is the deck that's the reference for when I know people have said, oh, we're bored of people hating on the baby on the sun card or the pregnant empress. But honestly, I do just feel like it's fatigue of repetition. Like if it was just in a couple of decks, I really wouldn't have much of an opinion other than we all know that the facial artwork in this deck is perhaps not my favorite.
What did you say before? Is that a face?
Is that a face?
It just came out though. She does really, even, do you know what? In her defense, or maybe in mine, perhaps, but in this, right, here it is, because I don't keep the spare cards in it. I keep them somewhere else. I've actually used them on my altar before. This is her face artwork in other pieces. So I don't know whether she was pissed at him when she made this, or it's just that it's been recopied so many times that it's lost that. But when I see her other artwork and I see the detailing in it, and then my particular Three of Cups, which I think was the one I dragged last time, was was a little bit how I imagine if I drew a smiley face on a wooden spoon. So I own it. Not all of the faces look like that. My favorite card has face. So, but yeah, that I feel like that's for me anyway. And I'll let Juli take over before I get myself fully cancelled.
I'm there with you then, because that was that sun card, and like this one as well. I mean, they're not babies, but they're supposed to be children. And you've got this one who has like basically the face of an adult on the body of a child. This one who's like an overgrown giant child. I always thought the proportions were a little bit odd. You know, and I mean, yeah, right? Because I don't know.
Excellent. I'm never going to look at that card the same now.
Because doesn't it look like she is supposed to be a child, and she looks like, I mean, like her hairstyle is like, to me, like an old lady's, like, you know,
Wash.
I don't know what that is. I don't know. I just I've never loved
evading me.
So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Sorry, Pixie. Sorry, Pam.
Marlena just typed, oh my God, I just Googled original Renesmee and it's in a glass display case. I can't unsee it. No.
Welcome to your nightmares for the next 2 weeks.
Yes.
That's so funny.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay.
For anybody who hasn't seen these movies, if you want a good laugh, you really need to.
And it's just like, I had forgotten completely, because back whenever the books came out, when I was a teenager, I inhaled the books because I used to love reading as a kid and got away from it, and that got me back into it. And then when the movies came out, it was just like, yeah, this is normal. But then rewatching them as an adult, I'm just like, when did we cross the line into body horror? Like it became sci-fi without telling anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
it's wild.
Yes, there have been many conversations about the problems in Twilight. many conversations, and yes, we realize this, you know, and
which, speaking of, Netflix, I think, took on the project of doing like a It's a Twilight animated series that they're doing, right?
I think it's Midnight Sun. So it is Twilight from Edward's point of view, but animated.
Which is like even more unhinged because Edward's point of view is like judgmental 200-year-old asshole who is judging teenagers on the daily and obsessing over wanting to either eat one or make out with her. And it's just like,
I think that's why
ew.
we don't live to 200 because that's what happens.
See why you gotta go read these books and watch these movies. I mean, see?
You can join our hot takes on them.
So, Marlene, I was not a teenager when these came out. I was definitely younger. What the books came out, what, late 90s? Was it?
I thought it was like maybe not when they came out. I'm sorry, that's wrong. I should say I read them when I was a teenager. I thought they came out in the like 2000 to 2010 time period.
The movies did. And then the books, I feel like the books might have come out in the 90s. So I was, in my, I suppose I was in my 20s, but I was totally into it. I think I was also around the same age when I was reading those. Yeah, in my 20s. So.
Fantastic time.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Are you all ready for our final prompt for the day?
Oh, yes.
Okay. You imprinted on my daughter a deck that was love at first sight.
I'm so predictable as fuck, but whatever.
All right. Yeah. I'm drawing a blank. I don't remember who goes.
Is it me? Or is it?
I don't.
It's Juli. Definitely Juli.
Juli, yeah.
Okay.
I was the Rider-Waite-Smith.
Right. That's right. Yes, that's right. That's right. Okay. So this is the traditional Korea?
The one we just referred to as the Bonatero.
Bonatero. Sorry. Is it traditional Korean tarot or is it beautiful?
I think it's traditional Korean tarot.
Because I also have a beautiful Korean tarot. It's we'll just call it the Bonatero. This was definitely love at first sight. And I always gush on about this deck. So I'm sure people are sick of it, but it's so visually stunning. And yeah, it's beautiful. The guidebook is well written. It is easy to use if you have, that basic foundation of RWS.
I love that strength card.
It's really pretty. And of course, depicting my heritage, that's always a plus. So I don't know what more I can say about this deck that I haven't already said. I mean, I love this deck so much that I actually went through the trouble to edge it because these days I don't do anything. I'm too lazy to like edge a deck. I'm too lazy. I mean, I got to really be invested in a deck to do like a mod or to edge it. And this one, I was like, I gotta.
That's such a good, like, what is that, like a fuchsia?
Yeah, it's like almost like a coral fuchsia blend.
Okay. It is warmer, isn't it?
Yeah, so it kind of goes well with these. Are these peonies or are these? Yeah, I think these are peonies, right? I don't know. I don't know my flowers. I am not an herbal witch, or a hedge witch. Is that the? Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, and just quick callback. Laura said the Twilight book was 2005.
Twilight movie? Oh, the book. Wait. The book was 2005.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's what they're saying. Okay, hold on. Yeah.
Wait, what's that? Is that right? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, that makes sense. Yep. No, that makes sense. Yeah. If I'm in my, oh my god, I don't even know how old I am anymore. Yeah. If I was in my, and then the movies came out not too far after, right?
Let me see.
Um,
2008 was the first movie.
Okay. Okay. Film was 2008.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what Laura said.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yes. Wow. Okay.
Oh my god. Yeah, that I should have known that would be your choice for Love at First Sight because
So predictable. I know.
it's so stunning though. And the fact that she made like 3 different versions depending on the size you wanted, the materials. She's insane.
Did
Yeah.
she?
Yeah. She knows what she's doing. So I will never be sick of that deck.
So
Respect that.
is that like in your top 5 ever?
Oh, that's a hard one.
Ah.
Yeah, I would say today it is.
A
Oh,
loose commitment there.
my favorites are ever evolving, but I
Yeah.
would say so. Yeah, I would say so.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Tegan, what do you have?
So mine, people here maybe are probably bored of it, but only because it's new. So it's been in the last 2 videos that I've done and never before because I've only had it for like 2 weeks. But it was very much Love at First Sight, and that is the Little Pigeon Tarot.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's hard to not be too repetitive. And before anyone thinks that I am up there with Juli, I did not do this to the edges. It came like that.
Well, yes, that's beautiful.
I know.
That's a great color.
So it's actually really nice cardstock, and it's one of those ones where at first you get it out and you think, oh, is it cardboardy because it's just got that finish, but actually it's got flex to it, it's got a proper core. And I was like, phew, because my stepmom spent far much more than I'd have ever spent on a deck for my birthday because, sorry for the repetition, other people and you too. Her and I, of all of the animals that we love, and there are many, her and I in particular ended up coming to our love of pigeons together. So it's something that very much united us. So I've known my stepmom since I was about 6.5. And yeah, we've rescued a lot of pigeons and taken them to our local wildlife sanctuary. We've sat with a few pigeons that were in their last moments and stuff, or found them deceased and gone and given them like little burial things in the garden or locally where the foxes will later find them, because they seem to find us one way or another, the pigeons. And it's become sort of it's really weird to explain, but where they're obviously everywhere around here locally anyway, like they are the masters of being able to adapt to environments. And that's why I love this as well, because it's very city pigeon. It's very reflective of that grungy kind of world that they live in, where they have to sort of navigate the litter and the little treats that they find in and around. It's just so freaking derpy and cute. But it also represents like a huge part of my relationship with her, animals, just all of the things, the fond memories, the sad ones. And they literally just find us. And honestly, it sounds really ridiculous saying it about a deck, especially as someone who's got a lot of decks. But it was a very emotional moment opening this, just because I was like, I cannot believe that someone made a freaking pigeon deck. Like, of all the, I understand, like, I like foxes. Foxes are kind of, even though they are sort of villainized, they're cuter looking. They appear in different things. They're just more artistically welcome. But, our little rats of the sky, as people have called them, and the derpy birds that aren't as intelligent, in the way that we perceive it, as like crows and things like that. I didn't think I would ever see a pigeon tarot. And I literally said to her, I'm going to have a difficult time using other decks for a while, because it has just, and look, the Page of Wands, it's very Rider-Waite-Smith. It's just got a little lizard in the background, like, brr.
So cute.
It's just, it very much is one of those decks where it feels like, this was made for me. And that's why it exists. It's so freaking cool. So I'm absolutely obsessed with it. It very much was was love at first sight, and I don't tend to have that experience too often. So yeah, if you're going to follow me for any time at all, then expect to be bored, because I'm just gonna keep going on about it, like, yeah, pigeons.
So yeah,
You finally feel seen.
I do, which is so, I feel so ridiculous, because most people wait for themselves to be seen in so much more important ways in decks. And I've just been waiting for the feral little pigeon to exist in dirty harmony with the city. And I'm like, yes, my soul has been seen. So yeah, I am, if anyone wanted to see me being like soft and not sort of rough around the edges, then with pigeons is probably the best time. And we actually were here in our current place that we're leaving soon, but we were here for all of a week and a half before I had to rescue a pigeon from our garden. So I told you they find me. Dave was like, there's a pigeon in our garden and I don't think it can fly. And you could see a bit of him go, oh, this is going to be a thing. But he did tell me he could have not. So it's like he cares, but also knows this is about to be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they lived on. People will be glad to know.
Awesome.
So yeah,
very cool. How did you catch wind of that deck?
Well, Logan, you want to answer that one?
So I follow, I can't remember if it's Nana Taro on Instagram who shared it, or if it was like Tabata or Vermilion, one of those East Asian, not
Tabata was the link
type of thing.
Yeah, Tabata's the creator, right? Or the company.
Tabata, I think, is at least the storefront that has a lot of the East Asian decks available globally. And then, yeah, I think Nana is like an independent agent, and she sells. Anyway, she has a great selection of East Asian decks. And so yeah, this one popped up through Tabata on Instagram, and knowing Tegan's ass, it was just immediately like, I don't know if she's going to like this art style or not, but Homegirl is a pigeon. So we have to at least make the connection.
That's amazing. Yeah. When I was watching the playback of Tegan's live, I was like, do I need a pigeon deck now? Do I need one? I need one.
Everyone needs a pigeon.
Yeah. I
will be what's the word, like when you're not sorry for something? Unapologetic pigeon pusher from forever. Like, all I need is maybe a seagull deck, like with them stealing chips and just basically bothering people on the seafront, and I'll be golden.
Awesome.
I feel like just give it time.
Yeah, really, honestly.
I've put it out there now, so I just wait.
So amazing. Marlene is asking, did you all watch Animaniacs? Good Feathers, All Pigeons. I've heard of Animaniacs, but I don't think I've ever watched it.
No, I don't think I have.
I wonder if it was as popular across the pond as it was in America, because when I was probably like 10 or 11, so like 2000-ish, it was just, I think that was the time period anyway, it was all over Cartoon Network, and it was ridiculous, and I totally forgot about the pigeons. So thank you for that, Marlena.
I'm going
to a joyous time.
Yeah.
So ridiculous. Oh, man. Well, let's see. UK viewer. Ingrid came through. So Tegan's just sleeping on the job, but that's okay. This time. Well, that's all I have at the moment for us. So unless anybody else has anything on top of mind, I'm presently blanking because there's nothing but Animaniacs and pigeons and bad scenes from Twilight playing in my head at the moment.
The perfect combination.
Yeah, I like it. I thought they were brilliant questions.
Yes, I did too.
Clever.
Very, very clever. Very clever. Yes. Very much enjoyed this, even though I was blindsided, but in like the best way. So I appreciate it. That was so much fun.
I've been wanting to hit you with some sort of Twilight related YouTube thing because I knew it would just make you kind of lose it a tiny bit.
Oh, I did. I absolutely.
And then, yeah. So
The quotes were
Tegan,
chef's kiss.
Tegan, the floor is yours for whatever bullshit we embark upon next time, whether it's
Yes.
serious or totally stupid like this. So,
That's stupid, of course.
Uh-huh. We look forward to whatever you have in store.
yes. Okay, well, I guess I will bid everybody adieu for today, but thanks to everybody who came and hung out and chatted with us in the chat. It was way more fun whenever you folks are hanging out and like sharing your 2 cents because they are appreciated. And then thank you so much to both Tegan and Julie for popping over to the channel today and dealing with these nonsense prompts.
Thank you again for having us. It was a
Yeah.
great time.
Yeah, it was good fun.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Okay. Well, I'm going to wish everybody a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I will see however many of you soon, I guess. Bye, everybody.